Good morning, everyone. It is a kind of gloomy gust morning. All the piggies are fine. It is much warmer than I was expecting it to be from how cold it was feeling overnight. So I'm a little overdressed. I was shedding layers before I taped. I wanted to talk about seizing the day, seizing opportunities. You know, as you're moving and growing into yourself or shedding layers, revealing yourself, you're going to have opportunities come up that previously you wouldn't have taken the risk. And all of a sudden you go, oh, why not? What's the worst that could happen? And if you're a parent, you've got that kind of extra burden of, I can't take that risk because of my kids. And yet sometimes we're still pushed to do it. And it's hard. When we tried for this homestead, we failed, quote unquote, the first time. And it was hard and depressing, and we had to settle for this old house in a small town, and it's not what we were expecting, and it was very difficult. And when this opportunity came for this place, I had been really diving into myself for probably 4 or 5 months, and this opportunity literally knocked. And our house was a barn that was a winery, and is this big open space, and all the plumbing was in the right space or places and stuff. And even our friends at the time that were helping us were like, I can't believe how lucky you're getting. And it's like, are you going to take this chance? Are you going to take this jump, this leap? And it was and is still times a hard leap to have taken. But I have zero regrets too at the same time. There's just hard days, and you have to choose whether you're going to seize the day or not. And I think that's really what I wanted to talk about, was seizing the day. You know, we can let fear and anxiety, whether it's out in the world or in ourselves, take hold of us. Or we can start to claw through that. And how we claw through that and what that looks like is going to be different for every single person. I used to be a person riddled with depression and anxiety. And through this kind of self-discovery, shedding layers process, that helped shed a lot of it away. And taking these risks of seizing the day helped too. It's hard for me personally to be depressed when I'm surrounded by this. I can literally step outside and just take a deep breath and ground, and I'm so grateful for that. And I guess I want to offer some encouragement. If you're taking slow steps through anxiety or depression, seizing the day to you might be rolling out of bed and getting a cup of coffee and stepping outside and taking a deep breath. It may mean driving in a car, or driving and going to a store, because going to the store riddles you with anxiety. It could be any number of things. I like to say that depression is living in the past and anxiety is generally living in the future. And so I think if we get into our breath and we concentrate on right now, we generally find that there's not reasons to be anxious. There's not reasons to be depressed unless we are living in the future or living in the past. That's what worked for me. That might not work for everybody. And that's okay. You have to find what works for you. Seizing the day may be going out and cutting the grass. And maybe going out and doing something you've never done before, that you've been scared to do before, but you're going to do it. It may just be getting up, taking care of your kids, exercising. You get to define it. It's not my expectations, it's yours. You're the one in control. You are the one that gets to define what seize the day means to you. And what seize the day means today might be different than yesterday or tomorrow, and that's okay too. Because what we need to do today may be different than yesterday or tomorrow. And it's going back to that compassion and love for you, and knowing that it's okay. And if you don't seize the day, if it's one of those days you need to curl up and be in bed, or sit in your chair and play video games, or just watch the TV and tune out, you have to have compassion and love for yourself on those days too. That's okay. I think the self-judgment when we have anxiety and depression on ourselves is so harsh. And if we can get back to giving ourselves more love and kindness and compassion, we can slowly or quickly shift through that. Are there times I'm still anxious now? Oh yeah. One of my biggest, most anxiety-ridden fears right now currently that I still have to deal with every single day is I don't like bridges. I live very close to Louisville, which has a big river to cross into Louisville from Indiana. I hate driving across that bridge. Absolutely hate it. It fills me with such anxiety every single time. And yet, it gets easier every time I go. Because I have to. And so I take a deep breath. And, the first few times I had to cross it, I was clutching the steering wheel like this and breathing so deep and just in my body and just focused dead ahead. Now I cross it and my grip's not so tight. I breathe, but it's not always as intentioned. if my husband happens to be driving, which is rare, I might actually look out across the water briefly. And that's progress for me, and I'm okay with that. And I think you need to look at whatever progress you're making, however big, however small, as it is progress. Again, come back to compassion, love, and kindness for yourself. And if you have a friend or a family member, somebody you love and care about, who is telling you about what causes them anxiety or depression, you maybe can suggest things out of love. But when they're telling you something and they're saying, no, I just really can't do that, you have to accept it too, because that's their reality. I don't have a right to tell somebody, push past that anxiety and fear. Oh my God, what the hell's wrong with you? What kind of friend would I be? What kind of person would I be? That somebody is sharing a piece of themselves, and I'm seeing this small glimpse, and I'm like, yo, that's no big deal. I really try hard not to do that. I really try hard to put myself in their shoes and know that I'm not even really close to being in their shoes. And that's when I come back to, I need to have compassion, love, and kindness for them too. And if somebody is paralyzed by anxiety or fear or depression, I can be helpful and try to suggest things. But then I also need to stand back and let them be who they are and let them grow as they want to. If they're a flower, I'm not going to sit there and yell and scream at a flower, hurry up, grow. It sounds absolutely absurd, right? I might nurture it. I might water it and feed it, talk kindly to it. But I'm not going to scream and yell at it to change. Grow faster. We need to remember that for other people and for ourselves. So, can you water and feed your friends? Can you water and feed yourself? That's really the challenge, isn't it? Letting people be who they are. Letting them define their day as they can, as they're able. I think seize the day is right. How we define that is up to us. How we can water and nurture another person is up to us, and how we nurture ourselves is up to us. How do we want to define that? And if people don't like how we define that, then they'll drift away. And maybe they come back and maybe they don't. You've got to decide what your definition is. You've got to decide what kind of friend you're going to be. And it can change too. And that's the wonderful thing about being human, is we get to change the rules anytime we want to. It's part of the experience. It's wonderful and amazing and hard all at the same time. So what does seize the day look like for you today? I hope you have a great day. I'm going to.